evening, we wrote it and I played it. Something happened. It's so strange, this feeling. Naive notions that were childish, simple tunes that tried to hide it. But when it comes, we all fall in love sometime.
Thank you. Oh, dear me. Thank you very much. It's time now in the program to introduce my partner and lyric writer, Bernie Taupin. He's probably more important than me when it comes to writing the songs because he has to write the words before I write the music. So can I have a warm hand, please, for Bernie Taupin?
Everything I've ever heard the pair of them write and Elton record has moved me at the time, you know, and encouraged me and inspired me. Everything.
Bernie Taupin, to me, is the best lyric writer that's ever lived on the face of the earth, and Elton John was just amazing in the studio, and the recording of everything, and some of it's so art. I mean, to me, that's my classical music, because some of his stuff is classical.
It's such a weird relationship that he actually writes the lyrics and he kind of sends them off and gets a song back. I mean, that in itself is extraordinary to me.
I've never managed to find a writing partner myself. Which is, sometimes I regret that, but also I quite enjoy doing what I do anyway. But no, I think it's an enviable partnership, and long may it continue.
As long as the lyrics are there, Elton can just take the lyrics. It's like a gift. Okay, here's a new story I have, or a new feeling I have, and I just feel like playing. So again, it's easy because, you know, like it's two instead of one. I mean, it's like twice as strong.
Scott Haney on WNEW-FM, and we are in Central Park, New York. And would you believe this? There are over 400,000 people down there, and they all came to see Elton John. It's about to happen.
What has happened has been miraculous. It's been exciting. It's been enthralling. It's been beyond your wildest dreams. It's been sad. It's been tough. It's been hard, and it's been easy. It's been everything that's happened to us.
If anything was destined, it was for him and I to be together, because I think some higher power said, let's put these two together and irritate the world.
Sister looks cute and I'm raising the boots, a handful of grease in her hair.
I'm still in search of the perfect song. You're never going to find it, but while you're searching for it, then you can still dream. And having Bernie in my life is such an important thing. If he wasn't there, we're both very from simple backgrounds, and what happened to us was quite breathtaking.
Living in the north of England and living where I did, there really wasn't any outlet for being the local poet, you know. The local poet where I came from was called the village idiot, you know, so one day I just happened to be thumbing through my latest weekly copy of the New Musical Express and came upon this ad, which was for a company called Liberty Records, which was breaking free of EMI, going independent, and basically setting up an entire new regime. And I guess they were looking for AOR guys and talent and musicians and everything in order to just start a new record label. And for some reason, in my frustration, I thought, well, why not?
I answered that advertisement, and I actually went into, I met a guy called Ray Williams who said, we want to hear you sing, and the only things I knew how to sing were the things I used to sing in a pub, which were Jim Reeves songs, and they weren't really looking for Jim Reeves at that time, and I can't really blame them. But, you know, I said, well, he said, I've got all these lyrics on my desk from this guy who's written in from Lincolnshire, so I took them, and I started writing lyrics, music to them, without ever having met Bernie, and I wrote quite a few. I mean, there were very naive lyrics and there were very naive melodies, but there was a chemistry there, and I enjoyed doing it, and I'd never done that before, writing to people's lyrics, and I found it very easy for me to do.
The reason that I thought that those two out of all the hundreds, apart from the fact, the obvious, which was the fact that one needed a lyric writer and the other needed somebody to write music, I actually felt some feeling for these people. I felt they had an ability. I mean, Bernie would probably look at those lyrics now and laugh at them.
Purple clouds, golden rain, yesterday has gone, and a dandelion dies in the wind.
The year of the teddy bear. A dandelion dies in the wind. There were some really, really esoteric ones. Swan Queen of the Laughing Lake. I remember that one. That was a great one. Tartan-Coloured Lady, Colour Slide City. I mean, they were all total rip-offs of everything. Unfortunately, the songs themselves weren't anywhere near as interesting, probably, as their innovators.
So out of just gut reaction, I thought, well, let's put them together.
We got on very well. He was very shy, which made two of us. And we became friends very quickly.
We got together and we went and around the corner to the Lancaster Grill, always remember that, and had a couple of cups of coffee.
I really adored him from the word go. He was like a brother that I never had, and it was wonderful being part of a relationship. We had a relationship from the word go.
I think we found a natural affiliation for each other immediately, simply because I think we were both loners.
It was not sexual, it was not physical. But it was very emotional and very loving. And he was the first real friend that I ever had as far as another person. And we became best friends. Over the years, we've remained best friends. And I don't have to talk to him for a few months for him to still be in my life, and vice versa. But he's in my heart and always will be.
Oh, well, Elton just said, I've met this boy named Bernie Taupin, and he lives in Lincolnshire, and I would like to write with him, and we seem to get on very well. And he's got nowhere to live, Mum, and do you think he could come here? And I said, well, where the hell do you think he's going here?
Bernie went down to London and lived with Elton and his mother. He was very, very kind to Bernie. She was his second mom in London.
Bernie was a very deep-thinking, very quiet person. He used to love to sit up in the trees outside. We had trees running outside our house, or the side of the flat that we lived in. And Bernie used to sit up there and write lyrics, and that was Bernie.
They had bunk beds. And I think Elton used to go into the living room, play the piano, and used to shout back to Bernie, give me some words for this tune.
I'd sort of come down and put something on the piano for Elton. Then I'd go back and write again, and he would basically just work out on it. And then I'd hear the shout, you know, come and take a listen.
And it was a start of quite an amazing relationship that's really lasted over 20 years, and never having written a song in the same room together, and that still exists. So that's quite extraordinary, the fact that we've never really collaborated in the sense of being in the same room. And that's very extraordinary for songwriters. Most songwriters don't do it like that.
But they used to wait for me at the window, and as soon as I got in, come and listen to this, come and listen to this. And if it was one that I cried at, well, then they'd say, well, that's a winner, we'll have that one.
We went through tremendous enjoyment and tremendous hope. That tremendous hope sometime when someone said, oh, someone's going to do your song, and then you count on it, and then they say, no, they're not going to do it. And we went through incredible depressions and very, frustrations. And my mother and stepfather, to their credit, were always very supportive. And they said, well, if you don't like it, you can always go and get a job at the greengrocers.
At that time, Elton was definitely still in bluesology. I mean, he was in bluesology for, I would say, a good maybe year after we met.
Reg Dwight had 2 singles with bluesology, and Reg Dwight wrote the lyrics and the music, and they were bloody awful, both of them. But I mean, they were first songs, so they were naive, and they were terribly exciting when you actually got the record in your hand and you actually heard them crackling through the airwaves on Radio Luxembourg. But it was patently obvious from that point, even though I could write a good melody, that I wasn't really a words man.
Come back, baby, come back to me, yeah, and you will see, yeah.
I don't think Elton really has that much desire to do it. If you saw some of his earlier attempts, you'd probably understand. In fact, I remember one in particular, one of the first songs that he wrote was called The Witch's House. And it was, I go to the witch's house, I go there whenever I can, me and Molly Dickinson in my delivery van. And therein you have it.
And the tartan-colored lady, she is mine.
We ended up being signed to Dick James Music, who was very, very sweet and very kind and offered us a songwriting contract.
But I have to state here and now, if it wasn't for Dick, we wouldn't have ever got where we were. He was very supportive. I don't think he understood our music that much, but it didn't matter.
The first thing I think that we wrote was a thing called Skyline Pigeon, which turned out to be the most successful thing we'd done up until that point.
Turn me loose from your hands. Let me fly to distant lands, over green fields, trees and mountains, flowers and forest fountains. Home along the lanes of the skyway, for this dark and lonely room projects our shadow cast in gloom, and my eyes are mirrors of the world outside, thinking of the ways that the wind can turn the tide, and these shadows turn from purple into gray, for just this skyline pigeon dreaming of the open, waiting for the day he can spread his wings and fly away again. Fly away, skyline pigeon, fly towards the dreams you left so very far behind.
Looking back on it to this day, it's still a pretty good song. It has a lot of youthful pretension to it, but people tend to forget in this day and age. When they look back on some of our early songs, they say, well, they're a bit pretentious. But hell, I was 16, 17 years old. You're pretentious when you're 16 and 17 years old. It was the time again, 67. Everybody was pretentious.
I think it was Howard Rose offered us $50 to appear in New York. And I said we couldn't really go to America on $50, even with a bit of support from Dick James. We needed a bit more than that. We eventually got, I think, about $275, and we, but it meant us going to the Troubadour in Los Angeles.
And the future you're giving me holds nothing for a gun. I've no wish to be living 60 years on.
was sensational. The turnout was something we couldn't have imagined. Russ Regan and the record company had done a very good job hyping the event. And everybody came to those shows.
The people that turned up and saw us, you know, I mean, I know how I felt. I imagine how Elton must have felt, because he was playing before them, and he had Leon Russell in the front row, and Leon was his idol. And there's, you know, I mean, Elton, I remember Elton saying, God, you know, Leon Russell's going to take me away and tie me up and say, hey, kid, this is how you play the piano, you know.
You know, when you come from England, and particularly at that age, we were all absolutely overawed with the whole thing. But he put on the most incredible show with Nigel and Dee. And you knew that night that a star was born.
With a review from Robert Hilburn of the Los Angeles Times that really did make us a star in the main cities in America before we had to do we played there, and the word of mouth spread very, very quickly. This is the new person, this is it, this is the new big thing. And it was ironic, I didn't really want to go to Los Angeles and play the Troubadour Club at that time.
I thought it was great. I mean, I thought it was different, and it caught my ear because at the time it was, I don't know, it wasn't like rock and roll, but it wasn't like pure pop either. I don't know what it was. That's what got me about it. It seemed like an extension of something. It was something I hadn't heard before.
I was going to New York to tour, and I was Derek of Derek and the Dominoes, and I did an American tour which started in New York, and I arrived in New York, and you know how it is when you get to, you know, a town like that, you're immediately swamped with what's going on for them, you know. So if I go from London to New York, it's always like a fresh wave of stuff that you've really got to acclimatise yourself to, and everyone was going crazy about this kid called Elton John.
Luckily, we didn't get big-headed about it, because we were playing with too many good musicians on stage. I remember playing a tour with Derek and the Dominoes, with their first American tour when Layla had come out, the album Derek and the Dominoes had come out. And we were second on the bill, and we played a lot of gigs with them. And Eric, at that point, didn't want any publicity about being in the band, so it was Derek and the Dominoes.
I was slightly threatened by all this when I heard that, you know, this guy was, he had a hit album and it was like really fashionable and everyone loved it. And we toured together. We toured and he supported me, can you believe? And that was my favourite song of that period. And also, actually, when I think about it, there was a good choice of songs I could have done, but this was more suited to me than anything I could think of, really, because I could feel a way of doing it, you know, to do it the way that I've done it, with a horn section and in a bluesy kind of way.
Let us live in peace. He's my brother. Let us live in peace. Oh, there was that I've been deceived. Oh, that fool says, let us live in peace. Let us
I was a big. I like the well, not the Empty Sky. I think that was his first album, but the second one, which was his first popular album, with Border Song. That was my favourite song of his at that time, anyway. And Your Song and 60 Years On and all those things were great. Tumbleweed Connection I liked particularly because at the time I was listening to the band as well, and I thought that Bernie's lyrics and the kind of chords and the feel of Tumbleweed Connection reminded me a bit of the band.
Deep in the woods, the squirrels are out today. My wife cried when they came to take me away. What am I gonna do just to keep her warm? Then burn, 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 burn down the mission. Look to the east to see where the fights start high. The high for walks of stone, the rich man asleep. It's time to put the flaming torch to their king.
His style of piano playing, I'm very sympathetic to. I mean, I like the kind of chords he uses. I guess that's what started me off. That's the kind of thing I was trying to play like when I used to listen to his records and start playing the piano, because I was quite late in playing the piano.
Burn down the mission, burn it down to stay alive. It's our only chance of living. Take all you need to live inside.
I have no idea what the process is, whether he writes the words first and then Elton puts them to music, or whether Elton writes the music and Bernie then goes away and writes words to the music.
I go in there with a batch of lyrics, and whatever mood I'm in, whatever lyric catches my eye, I start on that one, and then off I go. Usually, the song is finished in less than an hour. Most of the songs have been written in half an hour, from my point of view, not from his point of view. But once I get that lyric, and a lot of the albums, like for example Yellow Brick Road, a lot of those songs, most of them were written in a couple of days. I write very, very quickly. I've always done written like that. I find it very comfortable to do that.
The way that Elton and I do it is so different than the way anybody else does it, and it's always been the same way. Basically, I mean, I begin, I write the lyrics, I present them to him, he writes the melody. We get together, we listen, we go in the studio, we cut the record. That's the simple version.
I never really had the confidence to write down my feelings because in my life I haven't really felt, my feelings have never come to the surface that much. They've always been suppressed and hidden because I've been so shy, and people think, God, he's shy, and all that extrovert business was an act, and it kind of was. It was kind of a way for me to say, God, I can do this, I can do this.
I don't think it's got anything to do about putting your confidence down on paper. I don't think that's what he is. I mean, he just doesn't do it. You know, some people, some people can fix a drain, some people can't. Some people can play the piano, I can't, you know.
There's one here that I've sort of done the other day called Tiny Dancer, which is about Bernie's girlfriend. And he just sort of felt like, I looked through all the lyrics and that was the one I fancied writing, mainly because I knew Bernie would like me to do this one because it's about his girlfriend.
Reg has to write very fast because he hasn't got the patience to sort of spend hours or days on something, you know. I mean, that's Reg.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it, the words, blue jean baby, LA lady, seamstress of the band, pretty-eyed pirate smile, you marry a music man, ballerina. As soon as you get to the word ballerina, you know it's not going to be fast. It's got to be sort of gentle and sort of quite slow. So, I mean, like, the way it's written here is a verse, it's a chorus, or a middle eight and a chorus, then another verse. I just sort of ran it through and put two verses together, then a middle eight, then a chorus, and then back to the verse sort of thing. It happens very quickly. It sounds long, but it sort of starts off, blue jean baby, LA lady, seamstress for the band, pirate smile, pretty eye,
in my hand. Jesus freaks out on the street, handing tickets out for gone, turning back, she just laughs. The boulevard is not that bad. Piano man, he makes a stand in the auditorium, looking on. She sings the song, the words she knows, the tune she hums. Oh, I really feel lying here with no one near, only you, and you can't hear me when I say softly, slowly, hold me closer, time to dance. Count the headlights on the highway, lay me down in sheets of linen. You had a busy day today. Hold me closer, time to dance. Count the headlights on the highway, lay me down in sheets of linen. You had a busy day today.
Elton doesn't take my lyrics and look at them and thoroughly analyze them and say, okay, I see this in here and I see that in there. You know, that's just the way it is. Maybe there are times that I've thought, well, maybe he should read through my stuff before he starts working on it, but he doesn't do that.
But what about, now I'm going to interview you, what about if Bernie doesn't like what Elton's done, does he come and then kind of criticize it or revamp it or anything? Do they do that?
I would say 80% of the lyrics that he's given me, he's been pleased with the end result. I would think, I'm hazarding a guess at because I never ask him.
I don't think I've ever been disappointed with what he's done with my lyrics. I think I've been surprised at times.
There are lines that I cross out because they don't work, and sometimes I use the choruses as the verse and the verse as the chorus, and he's always given me carte blanche to do that. He's never complained.
If I write something, it's almost preordained to him. It says what kind of song it should be. So if I write a song like Sacrifice, if I write the lyric for a song like Sacrifice, I structure it in a way that he's not really going. You know that. Well, if you didn't even know the melody to Sacrifice and you read the lyric, you know that it's not going to be an all-out, full-tilt rock and roll song because it doesn't express those emotions. So, it says it's got to be low-key. It's got to be a ballad.
It's no sacrifice, just a simple word. It's too hard slaving in two separate worlds, but it's no sacrifice, no sacrifice.
Misunderstandings after the fact, sensitivity builds a prison Jealousy burns, cold, cold heart, hardened by you. Some things look better, baby, just passing through. And it's no sacrifice, just a simple word. Two hearts living in two separate worlds. And it's no sacrifice, no sacrifice, no sacrifice at all.
I figured I'd sort of pare it down a bit and just make it sound a bit emptier, you know, the way that I figured the words suggested. I think it's a song that, as a singer, is very enjoyable to sing. Yeah, so I suppose it's a song that's written for singers, yeah.
There are some verses that have been crossed out, like in Daniel, which led to people not understanding the song. The last verse that explained everything just made the song too long.
You know, of all the songs that are ever talked about, Daniel seems to be one that always crops up. And I should probably take this point in time to explain about Daniel, because Daniel's probably been the most misinterpreted song that we ever wrote. I was reading Newsweek one day in bed, like late at night, and there was a story about, it was the vets coming home from Vietnam. There was a story about a guy that went back to a small town in Texas, and he'd been crippled, I think in the Tet Offensive or something like that. And they wanted him to be a hero. They insisted that he be a hero, and he didn't want to be a hero. He just wanted to go home, go back to the farm, and, you know, get back to the life that he'd led before he went away. I just embellished on that. And like everything I write, I probably ended up being very esoteric, you know. But I wanted to write something that was sympathetic to the people that came home. And that was my idea of him disappearing, saying, you know, I just want to get away from here. And it was supposedly sung by his brother, you know, who saw him going away.
Daniel is traveling tonight on a plane. I can see the red tail lights heading for Spain. Oh, and I can see Daniel waving goodbye. Oh, it looks like Daniel must be the clouds in my eyes. all the scars there won't heal. Your eyes have died, but you see more than I. Daniel, you're a star in the face of the sky. Daniel is traveling tonight on a plane. I can see the red tail lights heading for Spain. Oh, and I can see Daniel waving goodbye. God, it looks like Daniel must be the clouds in my eyes. Oh, God, it looks like Daniel must be the clouds in my eyes.
When I interpret things to Elton, it's very important that I don't lay a big message on him, because, you know, I'm putting words into his mouth, and it's very important that I don't lay my innermost feelings on him. So in some ways I have to sometimes hide it a little. Maybe like I hid it too much in that.
You can get fed up with the sound of your own voice and the sound of the songs. I mean, there are certainly some, when I say about certain songs you sing for a long period of time, you have to drop them because you can't face sing them again for a while. And that means any song that we've ever written. Your song I must have sung 80% of the shows I've done. I've sung your song, probably 90%, but there are even times when I can't face singing it.
And, you know, that's a song of ours that you hear everywhere. You hear it in Safeway, you hear it in, you know, Ralph's, you hear it in the elevator in the Holiday Inn, you know. You hear it in the piano bar of the Holiday Inn. You hear it all over the Holiday Inn, you know. It's a Holiday Inn song. It's become a Holiday Inn song, you know. So you tend to kind of lose respect for it, you know. But then there are times that I'll be at one of Elton's shows and that spotlight will hit and Elton will do that song and it'll take on a whole new meaning. It'll drag me all the way back to when I was 16 when I wrote it.
It's a little bit funny, this feeling inside. I'm not one of those who can easily hide. I don't have much money, but boy, if I did, I'd buy a big house where we both could live. If I was a sculptor, but then again, no, or a man who makes potions in a traveling show. I know it's not much, but it's the best I can do. My gift is my song, yeah, and this one's for you. And you can tell everybody this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is while you're in the world. I sat on the roof and kicked off the moss. Well, a few of the verses, well, they've got me quite cross, but the sun's been quite kind while I wrote this song. It's for people like you that keep it turned on. So excuse me, forget these things I do, you see. I've forgotten if they're green or they're blue. Anyway, the thing is, what I really mean. Yours are the sweetest eyes of ever see. And you can tell everybody that this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, oh, hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is while you're in the world. Hope you don't mind, I hope you don't mind that I put down in words how wonderful life is while you're in the world. Oh, thank you, New York.
It's an incredibly naive song. I mean, it sounds like a song that it was written by a guy that never got laid in his life, you know, which I hadn't at that point, I don't think. But no, I mean, if you want to know about how it was written, there's always a story about Elton swearing blind that I wrote it about this girl I was going out with at the time, which I swear blind that I didn't, you know, but we'll never know that one, will we? But I do remember that I wrote it during breakfast. We were writing at the flat in Northwood Hills. And it was just something, it just came off the top of my head. There was nothing, you know, mesmerizing about the way I wrote that song. It was one of those things that just sat there. It was almost like I was eating scrambled eggs and writing at the same time. It was a legend killer, if ever there was one, isn't it? But no, I love that song. It's a great song. It's just that the songs that I tend to like, the songs that we've written, tend to be the ones that you don't hear very much.
In the quiet, silent seconds, I turned off the light switch and I came down to meet you in the half light the moon left on a cluster of nightjars sang some songs out of tune while a mantle of bright light shone down from the room. Come down in time as the river said, so clear in my ear, like it was today. Come down in time was the message she gave to me. Come down in time and I'll meet you halfway.
Elton is a very underrated musician. People don't, because he's such a flamboyant personality, they forget that at the core of him he's a brilliant piano player. And so it's good to remind yourself how good he is.
Songs out of tune while a mantle of bright light shone.
You can see the workings of the song and the skeleton of the song better if you put less into it than more. And I think that shows the strength of a song. If you can sing a song just with one instrument, then it shows that the song has some substance. If you need vast amounts of violins and chords, and it's often an indication that there's not much substance in it. So this is a way of testing a song. It's a very beautiful song. I love the lyrics. I love Bernie's lyrics. And I don't know, it's just a great song. It's one of those songs that you wish you'd written. That's how selfish songwriters are, you know. You write songs yourself and think, I wish I'd written that.
I hear songs all the time that I wish I'd written. I mean, there's a lot of great writers out today that write songs that I sit down and say, whoa, I wish I'd done that. I'm sure Sting's written a few of them too.
This one, I love this line. A cluster of nightjars singing out of tune. It creates some very evocative images, you know. It's a strange story. I'm not quite sure what it's about, but I think everyone has their own version of what it could be about. So.
I mean, I know that we all write things that we don't know what they mean, too. We pretend that we do. But again, that's great fun. I mean, I would say at least 50 to 60% of the early stuff that Elton and I wrote, lyrically anyway, I had no idea what I was writing.
I don't understand some of the lyrics, especially the early ones. Take Me to the Pilot, I have no idea what that is about, nor does he.
There's so many songs that we've written that, you know, I wrote purely for the way that it just felt together. I mean, the perfect example, I mean, the one that just comes to mind is Take Me to the Pilot. I mean, if anybody can tell me what that song's about, then that'd be great. But Take Me to the Pilot, Take Me to the Chain, what is all that about, you know? But hey, it worked.
Take me to the pilot, lead me through the chamber. Take me to the pilot, I am but a stranger. Na na na, 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 na na
This song was one that sounded easy for us to play, and when you listen to it, it's almost as though it always was a Who song. Plus, it's a rocker, and that's what we are—a great rock band. And so, it just felt right. And it was, you know, and putting that little bit of "Take Me to the Pilot" in was a little comeuppance for him because he put a bit of "Can't Explain" on the end of his Pinball Wizard, so I thought we'd get our own back.
Yeah, exactly.
When I think of those eastern lights, muggy nights, the curtains drawn in the little room downstairs. Prima donna, Lord, you really should have been there, sitting like a princess perched in her electric chair. And it's one more beer, and I don't hear you anymore. We've all gone crazy lately.
It was nice to be able to sing about me for once, actually. One of my experiences, you know, because I've always been singing about his ideas and his experiences.
And someone saved my life tonight, Sugar Bear. You almost had your hooks in me, didn't you, dear? You nearly had me roped and tied. All about hypnotized, sweet freedom whispered in my ear. You're a butterfly, and butterflies are free to fly, fly away, high away, bye bye. Ooh.
Elton was destined to tie the knot, and I don't think he was very sure about it. And he was getting more and more depressed, and he talked about, oh, I'm going to end it all, I'm going to end it all, which I was, of course, totally sympathetic to, and said, yeah, right, sure, go ahead, you know.
I went out and got drunk with Long John Baldry and with Bernie, and he said that I shouldn't get married, and I knew he was right, and I didn't know how to get out of it, and I just got drunk and went home and said, I'm not getting married, which took a lot of alcohol to make me say it, but I did.
I was sort of coming out of my room and walking down the hall and smelt smelled gas. Oh great, somebody's left the oven on in the kitchen. And I walk in the kitchen and there's Elton, sort of lying on the floor with the gas oven open. And my immediate thing should have been to go, oh my God, he's tried to kill himself. The thing was, I started laughing because, number one, he'd taken a pillow. He was lying on a pillow, you know. He'd got the gas oven like open like this, and he was lying on a pillow, and he'd opened all the windows.
If I had continued that decision to get married, it wouldn't have happened for Bernie and I like it did. It's just fate.
You know, when I say someone saved my life tonight, it was not necessarily about that suicide attempt. It was about his being saved from getting married, which would have been a disaster at that point in time, and just saving himself from himself, and people around him inspired him to a new level.
And I could have walked head on into the deep end of the river, clinging to your stocks and bonds, paying your HB demands forever. They're coming in the morning with a truck to take me home. Someone saved my life tonight. 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 So save your strength and run the field you play alone. Ooh. Someone saved my life tonight. Sugar bear, you almost had your hooks in me, didn't you dare?
Captain Fantastic, the Brown-Nosed Cowboy, is like totally about us. It's not about anybody else. It's about me and him. It's country boy, city boy, town mouse, country mouse, you know. Yeah, that's our story.
It had a theme to it. It was an autobiographical album. So it was easier to write in that respect. And I you know, I would love to do that again sometime. Have the running order, because you can control the sound of the record, you know, and you know what's slow, fast, you know, and that really helps. I think it was a very, very good album musically, and production-wise, it was probably one of the finest albums. Yeah.
Captain Fantastic was the first album in history to go straight in at #1. We did it twice after that, and nobody's done that since either, you know. And that's not a boast. That's frightening, you know. I mean, I look back on it to this day, and I think sometimes I wish that hadn't happened, you know. But because life could maybe a little different, although not that I want to change it, but things might have been a little different. So we had that. We had Elton playing every conceivable stadium. We played Dodger Stadium for 2 days.
The last show they had here was like 10 years ago. With the Beatles, where they did 42,000 people, and they had a near, well, some people say a riot. And after that, the people who owned Dodger Stadium said that's it. And it was 10 years, and to make a long story short, people said the best place to play Los Angeles, Dodger Stadium, but you can't get it. So we called up, and it took us about 6 months, and we got it.
It was an afternoon concert, and by the time we got home, it was only like 7 o'clock. And it felt like it was 2 o'clock in the morning. Nobody really said anything. Everybody was so sort of drained and emotional.
I remember crying coming off stage. It was a very big show for us to do. 2 big, I mean, that was when before, not many people did outside shows in those days, and we did 2 days there, and we pulled it off. You have to pull off the big events, and we usually did, and all my family was there. We flew everyone on an aircraft over me, and my grandmother was there, my mother and father, my auntie and uncles, and it had to be good. You have to have that ability as a performer to pull those ones off.
You know, I was always nervous anyway when Elton played. I mean, I lived vicariously through, you know, whatever paranoia he may have had of going on stage, but he didn't have any, so I had it all for him.
One of the most fun nights of my life, just going out there and just seeing, you know, 65,000 people or 55, whatever, how many people are out there. just absolutely just swaying back and forth to the music and just being totally involved in the moment and having fun. And I knew his mom was out there actually dancing too, so that was good. You know, it was fun.
I wanted to write something for Billie Jean, as she was such a great influence on me as a person. I really loved her energy, and I loved her forthright views on everything, and her honesty. And she's remained a good friend all that time up to the present day.
He said, well, I'm going to talk to Bernie, and I'm going to have him write some lyrics, and then we're going to do the song. We're going to call it the Philadelphia Freedom. And I thought, no way.
I wrote that purely because he wanted me to write it. He wanted me to write a song that both personified. He was playing tennis with Billie Jean King at the time, and she had a tennis team called the Philadelphia Freedoms. And also at the same time, the music coming out of Philadelphia was real predominant on the charts, and Elton was a big, big fan of all that stuff, you know, and, you know, the basic Philly sound. And that was really one thing that he just said, will you write something? And I came up with the idea.
And it was one of the few things that we've done like that really worked, and that's still one of my favourite songs that we've ever written. Everything about it was summed up. What we tried to do was achieved, and that sometimes you don't do that.
I used to be a rolling stone, you know. If a course was right, I'd leave to find the answer on the road. I used to be a heart beating for someone, but the times have changed. The less I say, the more my work gets done. 'Cause I live and breathe in Philadelphia freedom. From the day that I was born, I waved the flag. Philadelphia freedom took me knee-high to a man. Yeah, give me a piece of mind my daddy never had. For Philadelphia freedom, shine on me. I love it, shine a light through the eyes of the ones left behind. Shine the light, shine the light, shine the light, won't you shine the light? Philadelphia freedom, I love. Yes, I do. If you choose to, you can live your life alone. Some people choose the city, some of them choose the good old family home. Some others choose the good old family home. I like living easy without family ties. Till the whip-on-wheel of freedom sat me right between the eyes. 'Cause I live and breathe in Philadelphia freedom. From the day that I was born, I waved the flag. Philadelphia freedom took me knee-high to a man. Give me a piece of mind my daddy never had.
There was a time, and I don't think anybody would disagree, that in the mid-70s, I mean, you couldn't sneeze without hearing Elton John's name, you know, and it appeared to me and it appeared to the world that anything we did and everything we did was straight away it was going to be like #1.
It ballooned in globally, but when I say that, actually, it ballooned. I became successful in Australia and Canada and New Zealand and Britain. It took a long time for me to break in Europe, or our music to be accepted. I think in France, for example, it didn't happen until Blue Moves came out.
I know what it did to me, and what it did to me was scary, and I had to run away from it, you know, because I was frightened to keep going, because I was frightened of failure, you know. I mean, I knew that that could not keep going. I know that in this business, there's a pinnacle you can reach, but ultimately you've got to sink down. Everybody sinks down.
Bernie was going through something really bad personal stuff at that time. So I've been a sort of the man who put it all, you know, who sung the pain.
I think he had a lot of difficulty with Blue Moves because I was in a, because of the, you know, the title speaks for itself. I mean, I think it was a blue period for both of us.
Some of those lyrics I had to say, whoa, on that album, God, I don't know if I can go this far and sing this.
What have I gotta do to make you love me? What have I gotta do to make you care? What do I do when lightning strikes me? And to wait to find that you're not there. What do I do to make you want me? What have I gotta do to be heard? What do I say when it's all over? And sorry seems to be the hardest word. I'm sad, I'm so sad. Oh, it's a sad, sad situation. And it's getting more and more absurd. It's sad, I'm so sad. Why can't we talk it over? Oh, it seems to me that sorry seems to be the hardest word.
I think after Blue Moves, there was no choice but to take a break.
I think there was a barren period when, you know, there was so much going on differently in our personal lives, and that was the time of the Single Man album, and we were apart, and but we never, and I must stress this again, there was never ever any suggestion that we would not write together again.
We did have a space in time where we did work individually, and I don't think either of us would admit to creating anything particularly great. I mean, I had fun working with other people, and I did some okay work.
He's been very successful. He's had far more success in that field than I have, and I envy him that success because it's just nice to have a hit song written by and recorded by someone else.
We both had success in that break-off period. But that period is a lot less a shorter period of time than people seem to realize. People have this notion that it was years and years and years.
I've been jealous of his success with other people, the Heart, having hits with other people. I would be lying if I said I didn't. I mean, I've always wanted that. But it's not an unhealthy jealousy.
I was probably jealous because I thought maybe we could do better together, but I knew we couldn't be together at the time. I don't know, maybe it's just like one big love affair, you know. There are different ways of looking at different tours. There are the tours where the musical content of it was the most inspiring, and I think probably one of those was the solo tour with Ray Cooper. Because for me, the self-satisfaction of hearing our songs so stripped down and in their rawest state possible was very exciting.
did the rehearsals for that tour, I had to sit down and sing a lot of songs that I hadn't sung on stage for a long time, and sing them on my own and remember the words, and I had to concentrate, and it was much harder for me. But it was one of the best things I've ever done that tour. It was like rediscovering the songs all over again and realising what great lyrics they were. He was special, and everybody knows it. When he'd died, everybody was deeply affected by it, I think.
John Lennon was brought to the emergency room at the Roosevelt site, St. Luke's Roosevelt Hospital, this evening, shortly before 11 p.m. He was dead on arrival.
I remember I went into my office and I closed the door, and I think I stayed there for a day. And I wouldn't watch the news, and I wouldn't read a paper, because I just didn't want to hear about it. And in that time, I was so agitated by it that was actually when I wrote Empty Garden. And it's funny, because I knew in the back of my head, I knew that I knew that everybody would be doing the same thing, and I remember thinking to myself, God, am I cashing in? Am I being like cold? Am I being calculated? And then I suddenly realized it was the only thing I could do to express my feelings.
Well, I wrote The Man Who Never Died, which is an instrumental for John, but Bernie came up with the lyric that I thought was really, really special, I decided, initially I didn't want to write anything, put anything down with a lyric on it, because I thought it would sound corny, but I wanted to do something. I wanted to put something on tape that would show that I loved the man, and so I was able to put an instrumental down and a song. So, whenever I hear either of them, I get moved, because it brings back memories of someone who was very, very special to me.
As the New York sunset disappeared, I found an empty garden among the flagstones there. Ooh, lived here, he must have been a gardener that cared a lot, who weeded out the tears and grew a good crop. Now it all looks strange. It's funny how can damage so much grace. Walked before this little empty garden by the brownstone door, and in the cracks along the sidewalk, nothing grows no more. Ooh, lived here, he must have been a gardener that cared a lot, who weeded out the tears and grew a good crop. And we are so amazed, we crippled am a day. A gardener like that one, no one can replace.
Africa at its most severe. The lion, the elephant, and worst of all, the touring party of idiots sitting in the Mala Mala truck. Not us, them.
We went on safari once, and that was great, and that was good fun. We've had a lot of good fun together, and a lot of drunken nights, and a lot of really wild, wild parties. No, safari, you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, so you have to be fairly okay, although I must admit there was a fair amount of drinking to be done.
5:30. 5:30.
Everybody on this film knows that this is 5:30 in the morning.
The Elton on Safari was great. That was one of the best vacations we had. That was really fun. It was great because we got away, I think we got away from all the perils of the city. And we were we were really in the outback, I mean, major jungle. And, you know, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning chasing elephants in a Jeep was great. Although usually the elephants were chasing us. Well, one chased me anyway. I think he felt that in Sleeping with the Past we found a new unity in our writing. I think we found that the communication barriers that were there before, we broke down. And I think it was the first album that we've ever really done where we stripped it all down and really talked about what we do best. And the best thing that we do together is writing songs.
We've gone through living apart and being married and being crazy and being drunk and being miserable and being happy. We've gone through all those, and we're still together. And I love him more than I've ever done, and because, you know, loyalty is this thing, and we're both extremely loyal to each other. We have it's an extraordinary. Talking about it makes me feel quite emotional because I don't often think about it. I take it for granted a lot. What we have is very special. And we don't get together that often, but when we do, it's nice.
What would I say Elton's bad points are? How long is left on this roll of film? No.
Stubbornness is Bernie's worst quality. And also, he's very hard to get into. He's very shut down. He can very emotionally shut down. It's very to get to know Bernie. I don't really know if I know Bernie yet. I know I've been spending a lot of time with him. I don't know if I know the real Bernie, and I don't think he does either.
For as stubborn as I am, I think he's equally as stubborn. And maybe again, that's one of the catalysts. That's a good point between the two of us. You know, we don't give up an inch. You know, and no, you know, Elton's notorious for his moods, his mood swings. You know, he can be Santa Claus one minute, he can be the devil incarnate the next. You know, but hell, that makes him interesting. You know, and as much as over the years I've damned him to all eternity at certain points. And I'm sure he's done the same to me because I've been equally as guilty of being a jerk, you know. No, I mean, he's frustrated me and annoyed me to the point where I've just walked out of situations and said, to hell with this, I'm not dealing with it. I can't deal with you anymore on this level. It's over, you know. I don't think I've ever said it's over. I've just said I'm not sticking with this. I mean, there have been times on tours where he's just proved to be, you know, a total asshole. And I've said, yeah, that's it. I'm out of here. I'm gone, you know. And the smoke clears on both parts, you know. And listen, you know, what can I tell you? After 25 years, if two people who are as close as he and I are, if you don't get up each other's nose occasionally, then that's not healthy.
He still comes on every tour that I do at some point. But I mean, after a while, there's only so many times you can hear Funeral for a Friend and Love Lies Bleeding without going fucking stark raving mad.
Hey kids, shake and loose the hammer, let's find us in something. You're known to change the weather. Kill the fight, calm the night, so stick around. You gotta get electric music, solid walls aside. Face down, Billy and the dress. Alice the weird and the wonderful. Oh man, is she really keen? You gotta let it move. Now I say, I read it in a magazine. Oh, Billy and the dress.
Was I happy to see the end of all the theatrics? The boom, the balloons go up, the confetti comes down. No. Yeah, absolutely. And again, you know, it's something Elton knows that I never felt any of that was necessary. But then again, you know what? I could be totally wrong, and I probably am wrong.
Bernie hated some of the costumes I wore, hated some of the things I did, but I had to be me, and I think I took some of them too far in retrospect. But I can't regret that now. I mean, I think he was embarrassed by some of it, and he will admit that freely.
You know, seeing Elton deliver something like Your Song or Border Song in Mickey Mouse ears or Donald Duck hat has never been one of my favorite things in life, but underneath it all, he's probably the only person that could do that, you know, and make it still sound like it's worthwhile and, you know, he means it.
Maybe a lot of people said, oh, you know, you spoilt the music by, you know, by wearing those outfits and you didn't take the music seriously. The music stood up for itself. I was just trying to be, Reg was trying to be Elton and Elton was trying to be Reg, and it was all going on, and it was fun and it was hell and it was great and it was not great, but it was.
You can cover it all up and make it look pretty, but the core of it is the songs, and the core of it will always be the songs. And you know what, now that I look back on it, I don't regret, you know, the plumage and the, you know, the peacock and the fans and all that. I think it was probably very relevant, you know. At least there was nobody else doing it, and he did it before anybody else in that time frame. I'm sure people did it before, you know. I know people like to think of him the Liberace of rock, but Liberace never had that much soul.
At Madison Square Garden, I came on dressed as Tina Turner in the same outfit that she wore with What's Love Got to Do with It.
He was a little bit too close there. I know when it all came. He met me backstage at a show in Wembley, and we were trying on shoes. Oh, I love those pumps, Tina, I have to try those pumps. And the shoe fit, and that was his idea, I'm going to do this. And the next thing I got was this framed photograph of him. This was the jean jacket and the leather skirt and high heels. He found them, or he had them made, or whatever it was. I still have it. It's hung on my wall, and everyone thinks it's me, and I have to always say that it's Elton John. I'm a fan from way back in the 60s. I covered this song once on a rough album of mine, and I opened my show with this Bitches Back.
I love hearing other people singing our songs. I mean, it's very sad that people haven't recorded or covered our songs more than they have, and the excuse always seems to be, you know, oh, we can't improve on the original, which I think is a crock, you know. I mean, I've heard some of the things that people are doing with our songs now, and they're so open to interpretation. I don't want people to take our songs and make them sound like us. I want them to take them and do what the hell they want with them. I mean, they can turn them into rap records. They can turn them into, you know, speed metal. In fact, I'd love that, you know? I'd love that. That's what it's all about.
Tribute album is something that I haven't really had much to do with, and it's good that I haven't, because, I mean, I get embarrassed. I'm so flattered by the people that are doing it. I'm very excited. I haven't given it much thought, except, you know, I thought, well, it'll never come together,
The fact that people are doing this record, I mean, that's very overwhelming for me. I mean, because there are people that are cutting tracks on this album that, I mean, God, I idolized before I even knew I wanted to write songs, you know? And it's a humbling experience.
I think the vital thing in my career has been playing live. I mean, one can make records that go up and down the charts, or some albums sell more than others. To sustain a career, I think you really have to be a good live musician.
The live album he did in Australia I thought was brilliant because to me it showed everything that I like about Elton John. There was this guy who'd blown his voice out from singing these ridiculously long shows, but there he is and he's still going, and it's got all this kind of rawness, and I think, well, that's great because that just sums him up, that sums up the man, you know. He's got balls. Good luck to him.
Goodbye, Norma Jean. Though I never knew it all, you had the rest to hold yourself. Those around you crawled out of the woodwork, and they whispered into your brain. They said you on the treadmill, and they made you change your name. It seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the rain set in. I would have liked to know you, but I was just a kid. Your candle burned out long before your legend ever did.
I don't think I ever get tired of hearing Candle in the Wind. It's the perfect, perfect mesh of lyric and melody.
Loneliness was toughest role you ever played. Hollywood created a superstar, paid with the price you paid. Even when you died, oh, the press still hounded you. All the papers had to say was that Marilyn was found in the news. Seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the rain set in. I would have liked to have known you, but I was just a kid. Your candle burned out long before your legend ever did. Jean. Though I never knew at all, you had the grace to hold yourself when those around you crawl. Goodbye, Norma Jean, from a young man in the 22nd row who she was something more than sexual, more than just down Marilyn Monroe. Seems to me you lived your life like a candle in the wind, never knowing who to cling to when the rain set in. And I would have liked to have known you, but I was just a kid. Candle burned out long before legend ever did. Just a key. Your candle burned out long before your legend ever did.
I think they're growing old gracefully, but they're still great rockers, you see. But I think it's more a little simpler now, a little simpler, and maybe, and I know, I've got a feeling that Elton probably isn't quite so flamboyant, or he's probably going to calm down as the years go by. And that's great because the music will reflect that, I think, and it will become a little more serene, perhaps.
If Elton feels that he doesn't write as good a lyric as Bernie does, or Bernie doesn't write music, then I think it's a perfect combination, you know. If you know that your weakness and you can find someone else that has that strength, that's the way to do it.
Working with people who influenced you or help to create you in a way is a great honour, and it's a great surprise. you know, and you work with people that you bought their records, and you end up standing with them in some sort of peer group.
The people that are doing this album, God, are good people too. They're good friends, and they're very loyal people, and I respect them. They're great musicians. I couldn't ask for anything more, and it's. I've been very. If you'd have seen some of the phone calls I've taken, and someone has said, "Well, so and so's doing it," and I've gone, "Oh, blimey, no." It's brought me back to earth a bit. It realises that what we've done as a body work is okay, and it's really, you know, is okay. Because sometimes I can just dismiss what I've done and say, okay, that's okay, but wait till you hear the next. And no songwriters is like that one. Wait till you hear the next one. It's good. It's a wonderful tribute to what we've done. But now we must go forward again.
I definitely see our future together. It's hard to imagine a future without him. Yeah, I think there's a lot we've got to do. I think we're due for a second coming, or a third coming, or whatever coming is coming.
I feel very much that we're closer now than we've ever been. As kindred spirits, we'll always be together. And I can't ever see us not writing together.
You know, that's what it's all about. It's all about pouring it on the page. So yeah, there are songs that talk, I mean, obviously, they're the ones that come to mind, like Two Rooms at the End of the World, which was a song that was written purely about us, you know. It was purely a song about the difference between us, you know. It was a song about saying, hey, you can judge us individually, but together, this is what we do, accept it, or, hey, out of here, you know.
We all fall in love sometimes. It's very personal to me because it sums up the love that we did have together and that we still do, but the precious love that we had when we met together, and it was like two children getting together and being brothers. That was very special. I would have to say that was that means more to me than anything else we've written.
Wise men say it looks like rain today. It crackled on the speakers and trickled down the sleepy subway trains. For heavy eyes could hardly hold us, aching legs that often told us it's all worth it. We all fall in love sometimes. Bright and starlight filled the evening. We wrote it and I played it. Something happened. It's so strange, this feeling.